Welcome to Faith on Tap, a podcast where we go out to the wilds of local breweries and talk to you about, thoughts and various topics that are important to all of us. Well, welcome everybody. We are at Witch Doctor Brewery in Southington, Connecticut. And we have just been drinking Liz and I have been drinking a couple stouts. What was the name of the stout, Liz?
It's called Ode to Joy, so I guess it's their Christmas stout.
I think it's a clever name.
That's cute.
1 to 10, what would you rate it as?
For a stout, probably a 7. For a beer in general, 8.5.
Well, yeah, I mean it's a decent stout. It's not going to be a 12% stout. It's a good stout. I'd give it a 7.5. And Dennis, what were you imbibing with?
I enjoyed the Space Sheep.
And let me guess, it's an IPA.
It is. It's a New England IPA, actually.
And tell the people who are not from New England the difference between a New England IPA and a general IPA.
Yes, the New England IPAs are made in New England, and the other ones aren't.
They're very good. Is there any other differences that you know?
I think it's hazy. I think hazy is a part of the New England IPA.
Is your mind hazy? Is that what's causing the haze?
Well, after one IPA, yes.
Yeah, okay. Very good. We're going to be asking an interesting question, and I think it's going to be thought-provoking. If you could relive one moment in your life, what would it be and why? I like the question. I'm hoping we get some good answers. I don't think people will be afraid to answer that. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm pretty sure people actually kind of think about this more frequently than some of our other previous questions.
So you expect some good results?
I bet a lot of people, it won't take them long to come up with their answer.
I'm thinking when I first thought of the question, I went to, obviously it's the birth of my children. And I thought, how cliche can that be? And so I'm worried about cliche answers tonight. The easy ones, the birth of children, my marriage.
What would be not cliche that would excite you? When they murdered someone in cold blood?
That would be exciting. And then we would have to call the police and we would be part of the investigation.
And it would up our listenership a lot.
It very well might.
Well, hey, let's have some fun with the question and see what we got. My name's Mark, by the way. And your name?
Alex.
Hi, Alex. So the question I have to ask you is, what's a moment in your life that you would like to relive again and why?
I would want to relive is my engagement, even though it was just a week ago. I think that was
Congratulations.
Thank you. I think that was probably will be one of the most memorable moments of my life. So
we hope the marriage will be more memorable than the engagement, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you also better hope that when I ask her that question, she has the same response, right? Otherwise, it'll be very uncomfortable. What made you two get connected?
Well, we met each other through school, Salve Regina. Well, we have a lot in common. We just have a lot in common. We have a lot of similar interests. And
I'm Emma.
Hi, Emma.
We both were biology majors, except I also did education, so I'm a teacher.
yeah, that, and we had a lot of other things in common at school, and it's funny, we met each other and then we reconnected more recently. And
do you find either of you find depth in the other person?
Well, I'd hope there's some depth. I mean, we just got engaged.
You see, that question was for you to respond. Oh no, of course there's more than just his looks. Or, in fact, and this is, you could say all the in facts. This is why you connect so deep.
We connect so deeply. First off, we always get each other, and anything I say, I could just completely be myself without any hesitation.
Has he seen the worst of you?
Oh, yeah. And the best.
And you've seen the worst of him?
Yeah. But we understand each other, and I feel like everyone's going to have their flaws, but I feel like we really complement each other well. And when we have our highs, we have our highs. And when we have any flaws or anything that's like his biggest strength, you're really thoughtful and creative and just a happy, patient person. And you really care about me. And I can tell that you really care about me. And that's really valuable because a lot of people today don't care.
I don't know. I mean, Emma's always there for me, no matter what's going on in my life, no matter what's happening. I feel like I always have Emma there to support me, and, she always hears me out and helps me through whatever's going on. We both, go to church every Sunday.
I have been raised Catholic. I feel like I went to church a lot really young and then not as much as I was getting older. And I feel like since being with Alex, he's brought me closer to God again and brought me back into the church more, which I've really
So he's the one who
appreciated.
initiated you to go back to church.
Well, I feel like we both motivated each other too,
Okay.
but I think he was the driving force in that, and I'm really thankful for that because I feel like a life with God is a better life. So.
Here's my question for you, Chelsea. Is there a moment in your life that you would love to be able to relive?
I feel like Christmas, like when we were little. I'm an only child, so like my parents were like super close. And like I feel like just like the magic, like watching like photos, I'm like, damn, like I want to go back to that day, like Christmas morning where it's like all like the odd colors and like there's presents under the tree and like everyone's just like there.
What's the first Christmas that you can remember?
I remember my dad got me Beanie Babies. You remember like we used to collect
Yes.
them? And my dad went on eBay and bought like 75 of them and wrapped them individually.
Your dad's like the best.
Yo, the best.
That's so
He
sweet.
wrapped them individually and put them on a chair and I was like the most excited I've ever been.
But he gave you Beanie
He
Babies.
gave me
So
Beanie Babies.
thank you for that.
Yeah, thank you for the Beanie Babies.
So I'm assuming you're not married.
No, I was married.
Oh, you were married.
I was married.
Do you have any children?
No.
Okay. So if that's something in your future, do you plan on like kind of bringing these traditions back?
Absolutely. I love Christmas.
So what are some of the traditions you would like to put forth?
Definitely decorating the Christmas tree with like Christmas music.
That's
like
solid.
a must.
That's a must. That's
a must.
non-negotiable.
No negotiating. I like Christmas movie marathons.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you so much. It was great to
Thank you.
interview with you. So now I'm talking to Chloe. How are you?
I'm good.
What is a moment in your life that you would love to be able to relive?
I'm going to kind of go off Chelsea's response.
Hey.
It's very vague though. I want to say my whole childhood. Like the magic of childhood is like insane. Like even like Halloween coming up, it was so much better as a kid. Like getting the anticipation of like, oh, wearing your costume to school and like going trick or treating.
Yeah, when you were in school and like get to wear your costume in school. And then you got like the parties, and that was like just the Halloween parties, like other Christmas parties at school.
and doing stuff in school like crafts and stuff related to the holiday. Like it's so exciting and like magical and even like for Christmas, like you're believing in something that's obviously not real, but like
You've been absolutely wonderful, and I really appreciate you.
thank
tolerating
you.
it.
Of course, this is
I
fun.
feel like I always end up talking with teachers, which is awesome.
My name's Dennis, and you are?
Mark.
And
Tatiana.
Tatiana, what life experience would you like to relive and why?
Oh, see, we were just talking about past life experiences and how we don't trust our memory of any of them
At all.
at all.
We're just making everything up.
Really?
And how the now is the only important thing, because the stuff that we thought about that we maybe thought we did 10, 20 years ago or whatever may not have happened the way we're thinking about it, or may not have been what we thought it was.
Wow.
So
That's an interesting perspective.
So where we were just talking about that, the now is the important part, and reliving the past doesn't bring us anywhere.
Because of the fact that you question your memory on how you've kind of interpreted past events, you don't want to live there. You want to live now in the present.
Yeah.
Whatever happened before happened, and we can't remember for sure if that actually happened. So why trying to waste your energy desiring to relive something that is not?
Wow. What about learning from past experiences? Is that something that you find yourself doing or kind of putting off because of this idea of we don't really remember exactly what happened?
Well, I think part of this was because we were talking about trying to learn from our past experiences to be better in the now, and we were discussing how unreliable understanding the past is. Yeah, I think we actively try to learn as we go and learn from the past, but I think there's a lot of deception going on there in our own brains.
In our own brain, right.
Honestly, I think we learn from the past experiences like right away, like as they happen, and it's just part of us. And so if the situation would come again,
we would just know, like, oh, this has happened. I don't have to like think about it. I just know how to.
You just respond accordingly
kinda
from
like
what you've already learned.
right? Like you try, you do, and then you know what to do next time. You don't have to like learn anymore.
So you're not really relying necessarily on the past experiences. You're just gleaning what you've learned, and you kind of forget about the actual experience.
I think so. I think
see.
so.
That's
It's just like becomes you, right? It's like you've been through it. That's what we call like experience, right?
And welcome back. And to my right, I have Liz. What's been going on?
I joined a cult.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I knew it.
Well, it's of people who put pineapple on their pizza. And we meet in secret, we whisper sweet and savory, and then we vanish into the night.
Rightly so.
And to my left, I have the Guru of Grace.
Oh, wow. Is that 2 in a row?
Unfortunately, you've liked the last 4 or 5.
The
He likes
Guru of-
being a guru. You'd use guru.
Guru is good, but grace, like, do I,
Guru of Grace.
something I want to be a guru of grace? Yes, I like that. I'll take it.
Our question was, if you can relive one moment of your life, what would it be and why? I'll start off. There's a couple right behind us, this Alex and his fiance. I asked, what is it that, with the moment of your life that you'd like to relive? And they look at each other and say, well, we just got engaged a couple weeks ago. I'd like to relive that moment. I said, okay, it was a couple of weeks ago, but it was a really good conversation because they're hemming and hawing. I said, yep, so do you find things in common? Yeah, we're both biology majors. She's a biology teacher and I work in biology, and there's other things. And I go, well, I kept them like other things, like what? Well, we have deeper connections, and spiritual connections, and yeah, they didn't want to say it, but they're 2 Christians, and they met at a Christian college, and one made the other one start going to church because of their lifestyle and stuff like that. So it was a really good talk, and
Isn't it interesting that they wanted to hide?
Well, they see some old bald guy coming up to them asking a question, and they don't know where I'm coming from. I mean, that was interesting. Then you had a conversation with Mark and Tatiana.
They didn't want to answer the first question because it was too deep. And then they dove deep into the second question about not wanting to live in the past and not wanting to kind of stay there and reflect, but to see what's ahead of them. And I thought, wow, that's okay.
They were kind of like talking about the whole idea of wanting to live in the past is almost an illusion.
Yeah, because you don't remember exactly what happened. So you're skewed from what you're, I guess, taking from or whatever lessons learned.
Yeah.
From the past.
And I don't disagree with what they had to say. I think there's a lot of truth in that. I'm surprised, there's nothing that you just like to relive, but they didn't really want. And they also mentioned that their past was a little less than great. So I can understand.
I think they were a dating couple. So I don't think they were, and I don't know this, but I don't think they were married. And so they were coming at it from a troublesome place in the past.
It's understandable why you might not want to dwell on that too much. And Liz, you had the pleasure of talking to Chelsea and Chloe.
Yes, and of course they were both teachers again. So Chelsea and Chloe are just wonderful young ladies, and I thought they were like 23, and they were older than that, but I was a little astonished. So that was kind of cool. So Chelsea, she immediately waxed nostalgic about Christmas as a child and had some really fun memories. Even as an only child, her parents were really invested in making sure that she had a very, very good childhood. And the whole story of her dad bought every possible Beanie Baby that he could for her. I thought that was really sweet. And she furthered that, said she wants to offer that for any future kids that she has. She feels that's really important with all the traditions and the other elements that meant so much to her when she was young. And then Chloe, she kind of blanket termed, my whole childhood, it was pretty great. And then, when you contrast that to, as a teacher of young kids, she sees a drastic difference between how she sees elementary and preschool kids, how they're living now, and how her and her sister were brought up, and that was kind of magical. And she doesn't see that kind of magic anymore for kids.
Yeah, I think we might bring that up in the conversation. Almost parents forcing their kids to have memories because they're filled schedules all the time. But before we get into that, I guess when we ask a question like that, you know what, I'm going to be asking our panel here the same question. I'll ask Liz first. So if you could relive one moment in your life, what would it be and why?
It's actually a couple. One that it just had a very, very powerful, visceral, very physical response when, I had a C-section with my first child, with Tim, and I hadn't seen him, because I was knocked out. So when they brought him to me and I saw him for the first time, this overwhelming flood of, oh my gosh, I love this baby so much. It was so intense, and it felt like an actual,
and I'm
like
glad,
a chemical, just.
I'm glad you're not that way with your grandchildren.
It really felt like this chemical overload from the top of my head all the way down to my toes. It was intense. And the other one that I was thinking of earlier, there was a time we went to the Cape with the family. This is when the kids were all kind of young, and Mark's parents were there, and we were playing cards.
I was thinking about that too.
We were playing a game, or was it cards or a game or whatever it was? It was a game. And whatever the game was, there was somewhere, it was kind of a would you rather kind of game. There was a point when your dad, who was somewhat stoic, he fell apart into laughter so hard.
I remember exactly what it was.
Please, yeah.
My son, Tim, was trying to fool who said this. And he said, I love Chet. So who would have said that? And then my mother goes, who would love Chet? and my father just hit that. And when he started crying, he laughed, he would just not be audible. He'd be silent and start crying.
He laughed crying.
Which just makes everyone else contagious.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It was one of the most, it went on for like 15 minutes.
And what I'm so happy about is I had that in video. So I had that memory.
Really?
It's absolutely amazing. It was hilarious. So yeah, that moment was really fabulous. It meant a lot to the kids. Yeah. I think it meant a lot to everyone there.
They remember.
Wow.
And you?
Sure, I'll go second. Some things I think about wanting to know, because I've told the story so many times. There was a famous guy who, Charles Lindenberg, I believe, he claimed to have done something and it was not provable. And a reporter finally asked him, so did you do this? He goes, well, I've said it so many times, it has to be true. So it's one of those times I tell these stories as a teacher or as a parent or as a friend. These stories, they're done so long ago. I wonder what the details that I fabricated along the storytelling, did I embellish them too much to make the story interesting? It's like, I don't know. But some of those things I would just be interested to see how accurate I was. But generally, I would not want to relive any moment from childhood up through high school for many reasons, but I would like to have relived maybe my conversion process. It took a bit. I would love to know what my mind was thinking at that time as I was going through that. I would like to experience that again. Meeting Liz for the first time, that was an interesting time. It was a Christian Bible study that happened. And there's a few moments when my kids were young. And it's like that old saying is like, you never really know that these are the good old days, at that moment. But, we're having fun playing games on the floor or something like that, playing Get Past Daddy. All three of them are trying to get past me. And it's just like, those are really good moments. Those are some of the things, but when I do, I reflect, I try to look, okay, so those are some of my memories. Dennis, what do you have?
I thought about this and it's not a single memory. It's Christmas Eve at my grandmother's house that we grew up every Christmas Eve, and it changed and it morphed, and the tables got longer and the tables got shorter. And I could remember we had these things called carolers. They used to come to your door and just sing songs without any invitation, and you would open and you would give them candy canes and things like that. And so those memories of Christmas Eve growing up really kind of captured my attention to then create other traditions for my family.
Right.
Because, by the time my kids were old enough to understand, Nanny and Gigi, that's who they were. My grandparents had passed. And so that portion of life was gone. But how do we then make our own memories? How do we make our own traditions? How do we celebrate this time?
And now that you have a new grandchild, you try to instill that into your kids themselves to do that. Right?
I am excited. This will be our first Christmas Eve with our granddaughter. Of course, she's still eating paper,
Right.
and
they'll be happy if she gets a box.
She'll be sitting in a box.
Yeah.
exactly. But I'm looking forward to instilling that. It's not about presents. It's not about stuff. It's just about family being together, and that's what I remember most.
So I'll ask all of you. So when you think of the memories, is the memories that you think of, does it bring happiness? Does it bring peace? What is it that it brings when you think about those memories to you? What's that feeling that you're getting?
Yes, I mean all of the above, but really for me, it's connection. This thing in this time, in this moment that was shared, and that no one else shared with us. And so I think that's really special because it's family. You don't have to try. You don't have to, it just is, you know what I mean? And the experiences. Yeah. It's just the natural flow of the situation that really, it just enamors my heart. And I hope that we can bring this to our kids.
You have the opportunity. If it doesn't happen, I mean, you can't blame yourself for not trying at least.
Exactly.
So would you say the same thing, Liz, when you look back at these memories? Are they bringing you happiness, peace, contentment, connection? What would you say?
Those particular two ones, they bring me joy. Just like, yeah, that was really great. And connection.
I mean, and they probably all go together along with peace. And it was interesting. I was hearing a podcast this week, and they're talking about some of the differences between males and females. And they're mentioning about guys, when they look for someone to marry, one of the biggest things they look for is to have a woman that would bring peace to the house. In other words, they're going out, they're conquering, doing this and that. When they come home, they don't want a chaotic mess that they deal with. They want someone that can bring peace to the family, to the spouse. And that probably is true. You want that comfort to be home, to be a peaceful thing. And I think those moments, when we think about the past, peace is an important product of that. And I think that's pretty on point, in my opinion. Have anyone tried, I mean, as fathers, I think we all try. Have you ever tried to force a memorable time and it just backfired? Vacations are like that. And they, early on, they were, then I said, I'm not going to do this anymore. I said, I'm spending this much money. We're going through this much trouble. We're going to have a good time. And then kids happen, right? and it's like, someone's crying, they're fighting, and it's like, oh, we could do this at
And then
home.
we say, it's okay, Mark, you don't have to cry.
And then the kids start in, More and more times, those magic moments, they happen. And they don't happen, then they very rarely happen when they're planned.
I've learned through my life that quality of time cannot be planned. All you can plan is quantity of time. And out of that, you hope that quality comes.
On that note, say parents with kids at home. When we grew up versus when younger parents with kids have their kids growing up. When we're parents, I don't remember having to fill the kids' social schedule from morning to night every day. It's like, well, this time you're going to have playing time here. You can go to Boy Scouts here. You're going to go to this event here, and then you have this 15 minutes. You're allowed to have your own free time. But after that, it's like, I don't know how much great times or a kid's going to have when everything's planned like that. I don't know. I'm just thinking up. Maybe they can have great times, but I'm just thinking when I was a kid, I just remember going out in the woods, just finding cool things and getting hurt, and it's like it's
hanging out with the neighborhood kids, playing all kinds of crazy out, and not being,
I don't think you can plan quality.
Yeah,
I mean, you can try, but that doesn't necessitate you are going to have. I think it comes from quantity. When we spend a quantity of time with our children, we will make those memories. It's just a natural progression of things.
Yeah, but with that quantity will come quality in the sense that, because you're being with them. You're not forcing a good time. It's like, let's do this and we'll have a great quality time doing it. And memories will come from that. I'm hoping, I have the memories of my kids, and I'm hoping they have memories growing up of this and that those times will bring that peace, that joy, etc. Would you say, are you the type of person that likes thinking about things in the past? Or are you more looking into the future? Or are you the special living in the moment person?
I'm probably more of a living in the moment person, because if I spend too much time in the past, I don't think it does me that much good. And the future, in all my attempts to try to figure out what was going to happen in the future, I've been right 0 times. So just
You can't predict.
no.
Now you, Dennis.
I would like to think that I have a healthy relationship with all three. So I've learned from the past, I live in the present, and I'm cognizant or understand that the future is coming.
That's a good fortune cookie, but so you're saying you have the perfect balance of the thinking of the past, thinking about the future, and being in the moment. The perfect mixture of that.
Thank you for realizing that.
Oh, good for you.
It's about time. No,
I guess I'm more of a freak than I thought.
That's the ideal. And I find myself vacillating between, okay, I'm living in the past. I want the past to be the present, and it can't be the present because it's the past, and in the future I'm planning for. And so what I've tried to do is learn from the past, implement those lessons in the present, and pray that God graces me with the future.
I'm glad that you are at that level. That's awesome. It's very admirable. Personally, I spend very little time in the past. It's done. Nothing I can do about it. I have no control over it. So I spend very little time. That means regrets and stuff. So that's a good thing. I really don't. It's like, that was a long time ago. I can't change it. I was probably an idiot back then, whatever. In the moment, I wish I could live in the moment more. There's certain things that can bring me in the moment. I spend probably way too much time thinking about the future, planning, because I guess I'm the problem-solving type guy. I think, well, if this could happen, if this happens, then I can do this, and this happens, and this happens, and it's not healthy. I mean, some parts of it can be healthy because it's good to have some strategy for planning, but an excess amount of that is not healthy at all. It can bring disappointment, etc. And I guess that could also reflect in our life, in our Christianity, with our relationship with God. You could live your life thinking about how good it was in the past, my relationship with Jesus. Oh, I remember that special moment when I felt so close to him. I remember that time in worship when blah, 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 blah. Or you can just focus on heaven. And it's like, oh, heaven's going to be so freaking awesome. Jesus is right here. So Well, how would you guys want to comment on that?
I believe that if you spend too much time in the past or even too much time in the future, you miss what God is doing right now. And so you have to be aware of both situations, past and future. But the only thing that we can have any influence in at this point is the present. And yes, the present can influence the future, but we still have to influence what's taking place right now. And so to have a unhealthy balance or unbalance of past and future, you miss what God is doing here right now.
Do you have any thoughts, Liz?
No, I agree with them. I mean, if you're not watching the road you're walking on, you're going to fall.
There is a pothole.
So many people who are listening to this, and it's not a big surprise that people generally know that living in the moment is what it's all about. With God, Dennis, what would you say would be some good strategies then to get your life more centered on having Christ in your life at the moment?
I think you have to go back to Paul's words where he talks about the things I want to do, I didn't do, and the things I wanted to do, I didn't do, and all of this frustration. And I've been approached many times as a pastor. I've been through this. Where do I go from here? And it really is, for me, it's a very simple equation of what is Jesus saying to you in this very moment? Is he telling you left, right? Is he telling you straight back? Is he telling you punt? Is he telling you to keep the ball and to turn it back on people? Because we get all caught up in the decisions we're supposed to make, the directions we're supposed to go in, and the influences that we have on the exterior kind of pointing us in whatever direction. What is God telling you? And to kind of step back for a moment, pause, and listen to the Spirit will be beneficial past, present, and future.
So you're saying in order for all of us who are grinding out through our day, we all know that we should live by the moment. And if you're a Christian, you want to be in the moment with Jesus at that time. And for people who trying to struggle, I don't hear God, I'm busy doing A, B, C, I don't hear God, you're saying, fine, stop.
Yeah, rest. Because God is talking to you. I mean, if a person is telling me I don't hear from God, they're telling me they want to hear from him. Mm-hmm. And so, stop what you're doing and take a break and listen. And sometimes God isn't what you want to hear, isn't what you would expect to hear, isn't the common solution to the question you are answering, but it's God. And so if you can rest, pause, embrace that, it can affect not only your present, but the future.
Those words are probably the most important words that you could probably live by in this day and age. So great way to end our podcast. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Tune in next episode when you'll hear Dennis say,
No one wants to be a doormat.